Good morning, everyone. And this is Alex Bogart from Ohana Yoga Studio in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. This is going to be a 30-minute slow flow class just to help you to get grounded down on your mat and just start off your morning just feeling refreshed and feeling ready to take on the day. And I don't know about you, but I have to have a little bit of movement in my morning time because when I wake up, sometimes coffee alone does not do the trick. And so you won't need any props for this class, just your mat and an open mind. We'll get started with grounding down here with the breath, and then we'll begin to do some gentle movement to just flow and take it easy and stretch out the body. So begin by sitting in a comfortable cross-legged position, noticing the spine, reaching the crown of the head high towards the ceiling as you melt the shoulders down. And your hands, they can be on the knees to be grounded down, or palms can face up to be more receptive. But with your eyes closed, beginning to deepen the breath. Inhaling in deeply through the nose. And exhaling slowly. And as you do your next inhale, reaching the crown of the head higher towards the ceiling. And exhale, melt the shoulders down a little bit more from the ears. Continuing with this breath. Maybe you set an intention for your practice this morning. My intention is almost always the same, is peace. But not just peace in my heart and in my mind, but peace within the world. So breathing in your affirmation, your intention, and on your exhale, letting go of everything that doesn't serve you. And then on your next inhale, reaching your hands up towards the ceiling, shoulders down. And exhale, cactus the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together. 2 more times. Inhale, reach the hands high. And exhale, cactus. 1 more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, cactus. On your next inhale, reach high. And exhale, plant your left hand down to the floor and bring that right arm up and over. Your gaze goes high to the ceiling. Rolling that right shoulder back. Finding length in the right side of the body. Breathe here. On your next inhale, slowly rise. Reach that left hand high. And exhale, plant the right hand down to the floor. Left arm comes up and over. Rolling that left shoulder back. Breathing into the left side of the body. Now on your next inhale, slowly rise here to sit and meet me in a tabletop position. So once you're in a tabletop position, check in with your form. Make sure that your wrists are directly underneath of your shoulders and your knees are under the hips. The tops of the feet should be on the mat, so don't worry about curling the toes here. Now once you're in tabletop, belly button reaches up to the spine, and notice the shoulders here. Spread the shoulders nice and wide. So our core is engaged even when we're in this neutral position. Now we're going to begin to flow with some cat and cow. On an inhale, drop the belly down to the floor. Gaze high to the ceiling. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Cow pose. And exhale, round the back like an angry cat. Bring the chin to chest. Spread the shoulders wide for cat. And continuing like this, inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. And do this for a few more rounds of breath. And go slow with your breath here. So breathe in slowly. And exhale even slower. We're just warming up the spine and the shoulders and the neck here. This is probably one of my most favorite good morning stretches, cat and cow, because I always wake up and my neck and lower back is just feeling kind of funky. And this is the best way for me and my body to just warm up. Find this neutral tabletop position. Once again, remember belly button to spine, shoulders spread wide. We're going to come into what I call chasing your tail. So on an inhale, straighten your right leg out behind you. Keep your foot flexed. And then cross that right leg over the left and drop the toes down to the floor. And from here, squeeze those thighs together and send your gaze over that left shoulder towards the right foot. Breathing into the right side of the body. Two more rounds of breath. And one more. From here, send your gaze back to the top of the mat and drop your right knee down to meet the left. Before we do the other side, we're going to come into a thread the needle. Take your right hand. Keep your gaze on the right hand. On your next inhale, reach the right hand high to the ceiling. And exhale, thread the needle, thread the arm. Between the left arm and body, drop the shoulder down to the floor. Breathing into the right shoulder. An option from here, you can lift that left hand high to the ceiling. Or maybe you reach behind you towards the right hip, rolling the shoulder back. Slowly come to rise here. Back to a neutral tabletop position. As we come into chasing tail on the other side. On an inhale, straighten the left leg out behind you. Cross the leg over the right, drop the toes down. Send your gaze over the right shoulder towards the left foot. Forgive me if I have sniffles today. I've been dealing with bronchitis, and so I've got a little sniffles going on here. But breathe into the left side of the body. Two more rounds of breath. And one more. Slowly send your gaze back to the top of the mat. And left knee meets the right knee, tabletop position. Coming into the thread the needle with the left arm. Inhale, reach the left hand high to the ceiling. And exhale, thread the needle. Drop the shoulder down to the mat. Now option to reach the right hand high, or the hand can come behind you, reaching towards the left hip, rolling the right shoulder back. Breathing here. Slowly bring that right hand back down to the mat, pushing back into a tabletop position. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. So bring your hands forward and tuck your toes. And then on an inhale, lift the hips high. And exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Now here in downward facing dog, you want your hips to be reaching high to the ceiling. And your gaze is going to be between the legs. Notice the upper body. See if you can press the upper body back towards the tops of the legs a little bit more as you melt your heels down to the mat. And maybe you begin to bend one knee at a time. We call this walking your dog. Just stretching those hamstrings. Now sometimes for me, when I'm in down dog, my wrists start to feel a little funky. You can always come down into the forearms to relieve the pressure on the wrist. But this will definitely start to burn the shoulders a little bit. It's a variation of a dolphin pose. Now, find stillness here in down dog, and bend the knees, gaze to the top of the mat, baby step, tiptoe your feet forward, and then come into a forward fold, gaze between the legs, hips are high, bend the knees as much as you need to here to try to get the torso to rest on the tops of the legs. Head is heavy. See if you can lift the hips a little bit higher towards the ceiling. Feeling the stretch here in the glutes. Now on your next inhale, bring your hands to your shins. Halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, fold, forward fold. Inhale, rise one vertebrae at a time. Reaching the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, hands down by your side as we stand here in this mountain pose, this Tadasana. Stand tall. Arms by your side, fingers spread wide. Close the eyes. And reconnect with the breath. When I reconnect with the breath, I like to reconnect with my intention for the practice. So if you set a word as your intention, like peace, maybe you imagine as you're breathing here, that you're literally breathing in that word, allowing it to wash over you, and exhaling, releasing everything that doesn't serve you. Because yoga is so much more than just stretching and the movement. It's also, I like to say it's also a spiritual movement that's going on within the body. And no matter if you align with a faith or if you don't believe in a higher power, we all can reap the spiritual benefits from yoga. Just to help you to find that peace and that purpose, and to really tap into that peace and purpose within by simply using the breath. So breathing in your affirmation or intention, and exhale, letting go. On your next inhale, slowly open the eyes and reach the hands up, shoulders still stay down. And interlock the fingers here as we come into a half moon A. Shoulders are down And your biceps are gonna stay right beside the cheeks here. Try to have nice straight arms. Hips stay square forward. Now on your next exhale, begin to hinge to the left, pushing the hips out to the right. Breathing into the side body. Now your eyes can stay open, or you can close the eyes, finding length here on the right side. Option to drop that bottom arm down to the leg, reaching the right arm up and over. Now on your next inhale, slowly rise, reach the left hand up. You can interlock the fingers and exhale, hinge to the right this time. The hips push out to the left. Dropping that bottom arm down if that feels good. Breathing into the left side of the body. On your next inhale, slowly reach the hands up. Gaze high to the hands. And exhale, cactus the arms. We're going to do this 2 more times standing. Inhale, reach. Exhale, cactus. One more. Inhale, reach. And exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach. And exhale your hands to heart center. Standing tall here and gazing forward. Finding something to look at and to stare at that won't move. This will be your focal point that we call your drishti in yoga. So have your drishti set on something that will not move. As you come into tree pose with the right foot, bringing the sole of the foot to ankle, calf, or to the inner thigh. Just bypassing the knee. Drawing your belly button into your spine and not forgetting to breathe. Your breath is so crucial to finding balance in your poses, but it's also important to finding balance in life. So don't forget to breathe as I get a little wobbly here on the mat. The longer we hold it, the standing leg starts to say, please, for the love of God, help me out here. But no, we want to strengthen that leg. Maybe you grow the branches, reaching high to the ceiling. Breathe here. And then slowly release that leg and lower it down to meet the left leg, shaking out the standing leg. So we come into the other side. Again, standing tall, finding your drishti. Grounding into that right foot, and your left foot can come to the ankle, a little higher, or to inner thigh, just bypassing the knee. Hands can be by side or to heart, whatever feels better for you. And just know that you don't have to force the foot to come up to the inner thigh. Tree pose is beautiful with your foot at ankle, calf, or inner thigh. The goal is not to get the foot to the inner thigh. The goal is to maintain the balance and strengthen the standing leg. We're just working on building to strengthen the core, drawing the belly button into the spine, standing tall, and maybe you reach the hands high, growing your branches. Sometimes I like to get silly in class and pretend that it's like there's a storm going on and I'm gonna sway my branches. Like there's a wind trying to blow my tree down, and here I am swaying the branches. Intentional sway, so go slow. Or maybe you stay still. Breathe. Releasing and slowly lowering down. Standing tall in the mountain pose, shaking out that standing leg. Close the eyes and reconnect with your intention. I've been reading a lot from the Bhagavad Gita, so if you've ever done a teacher training before, or you study a lot in yoga, the Bhagavad Gita is one of those books that you can never, that you're always going to be reading in the yoga teacher world. And it says in there that finding peace is a result of letting go of expectations, allowing yourself to just be in the moment and just breathe and allowing that to be enough. And yes, I'm paraphrasing the Bhagavad Gita. Letting go of expectations. They call it attachments in the book. Accepting things as they are. And just breathing. Allowing the breath to ground you and keep you in this moment, right here, right now. That's where peace is found. So breathe and let go. Inhale, reach the hands up high. Exhale, fold forward, forward, fold. Planting your hands and come to sit on down on the mat here. Just straighten your legs out in front of you. So we come into a forward fold. Sit up tall to begin and have your hands down by your side. I want you to notice the spine before we come into this fold. The crown of the head is reaching high to the ceiling. The spine is nice and straight. The feet are super flexed. And on your next inhale, reach the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, hinge at the hips. Imagine you're trying to get your nose to touch the toes. No, I don't expect that. And then your hands will fall wherever they may on shins, ankles, or feet. Finding the stretch here in the hamstrings and in the glutes. And when you're ready for your chin to come to your chest, allow that to fold. And breathe here into the backs of the legs. Two more rounds of breath. And one more. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back towards you. Bring the soles of your feet to touch into a bound angle, the Baddha Konasana. Again, sitting up tall. Crown of the head reaches to the ceiling. Allow the knees to melt down closer to the floor. Continue to breathe. And maybe on your next exhale, you hinge at the hips. Continue to hinge. And then chin to chest. Breathing into the inner thighs. And letting go. Two more rounds of breath. And one more. Slowly rise. Bringing the knees back to touch and straighten the legs out in front of you here. Feet are flexed, sit up tall, reach the hands forward. On your next exhale, slowly lower down onto the back. Take your time, use your core to try to not flop. And then reach your arms up and overhead for a full body stretch. And then draw the knees in towards the chest to give yourself a hug. Rock side to side, massaging the lower back. Finding stillness here. Bring your arms out to this letter T on the mat. We're going to come into a spinal twist. Keep the shoulders melted down onto the mat or the floor here and allow the knees to fall to the left. If you need a blanket in between the knees or a pillow, you could do so. Or maybe you put that under the bottom leg here. The only goal here is to keep that right shoulder melted down towards the floor. Maybe you send your gaze over to the right hand. Breathing here. On your next inhale, slowly roll back over onto the spine. And exhale, knees fall to the right this time. Left shoulder melts down to the floor. Maybe you send the gaze over to the left hand. Breathing into the spine. And exhale, letting go. On your next inhale, slowly rolling over onto the spine and straightening the legs out. Arms by the side, palms facing up. Begin to snuggle the shoulder blades under. Allow the feet to just fall to the sides here. So we set up for the final pose of yoga, which is called Shavasana, corpse pose. Shavasana is the final pose of any yoga class where your eyes can be closed if you feel safe to do so, and you get into any comfortable position that feels good for you. I'm not a traditionalist, so sometimes my Shavasana will look like a traditional Shavasana, laying on the back, and sometimes I like to bring the soles of the feet to touch. Other times I like to do legs up the wall. So really settle in for what feels good for your body. Close the eyes. And allow your breath to return to its natural state. Trying to tame the mind to not wander from thought to thought, but keeping the awareness on the breath. Noticing when the thoughts drift and gently guiding the awareness back to the breath. I encourage you to stay in this Shavasana pose for as long as you need to just breathe and just be. I will be ending this video. But stay tuned for more videos. throughout the week. May you have a wonderful day filled with peace and strength and grace. The love and light in me sees and honors the love and light in each and every part of creation. Go in peace. Namaste.